sure everything's good to go. Looks like it. Hold on. We're going to triple check. We're going to call Google check. We're going to make sure. Hold on, because sometimes YouTube likes to delay. Like it looks like right now it's starting to delay. Please hold. Your call is very important to us. Hold on. I think we're good. We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do some chaotic good.
Chaotic good? Chaotic good. Let's do it, baby.
Fancy intro we got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Chaotic Good Sports. Thanks for joining. We had our first episode last week. We got our second episode today. Today, 100% of any donations will be going directly to NewSoles Incorporated, a New Jersey-based nonprofit that provides footwear for the youth. They do community outreach programs, mentorship programs. Mike, this is coming from Mike Daniels himself. So if we get any super chats there, the link is in the description. The link is at the top of the chat. But without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I am so beyond thrilled to be talking to our guest tonight. He is the former Green Bay Packers defensive tackle who was a monster, a lover of anime. I met him at WrestleMania Night 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mike Daniels.
Man, not every day do I get to talk to celebrities, man. All right. I don't always get a chance to meet people who I'm fans of, bro. So watching like guys like you has made retirement so enjoyable. It's made me be able to be like, oh, okay, good. I don't play football anymore. It's all good, man. Like, yeah, it's helped me reintegrate into being able to watch the sport without feeling like, damn, I need to be back out there. You know what I mean? So thank you.
No, so I have to tell this story real quick. Because before we get into anything and about your life and career and all that great stuff, so I took Papa Grossi to night 1 of WrestleMania 40.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, you tap me on the shoulder, and you're like, Tom Grossi? And I was like, oh, Mike Daniels? And there was this, Spider-Man meme of pointing to one another, of maybe he's like, dude, I'm a fan of you. I was like, dude, I'm a fan of you, just as a Packers fan. And just to encounter you at WrestleMania, I know you're a huge wrestling fan and all. That was just such a serendipitous thing. You were with your boys. And yeah, man, it was a very out-of-body experience because, as a YouTuber, you don't know who's watching. We have players on. I've talked to players. I'm friends with players. But you never know, how prevalent it's going to be. So for you to be like, oh, no, man, I know you. I'm a fan. Well, your boys was a fan. You're coming home from football practice now. It's wild. Wild.
Nah, man. So my buddy who was there, he is not only a huge Packers fan. So when I got drafted on his birthday, mind you, that was the best thing in the world. He's also a huge wrestling fan. See what I'm saying? So it's he was like, yo, I get to be 3 rows away from seeing The Rock wrestle, and I'm sitting right behind Tom Grossi. Yo, Mike, this is crazy right now. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was a pretty unique experience, to say the very least. I mean, being at WrestleMania 1 as a whole was, and then sitting in front of Mike Daniels, and my dad, of course, who's a Cowboys fan, is just like, Tom, who is that? I was like, Dad, that's Mike Daniels, right? So again, it was this Spider-Man meme. So we were talking on the phone before the interview because you were just coming out of football practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
And you said to your car, call Tom Grossi, and you had some teens in the back that were just like, wait, you know Tom Grossi?
Oh, nah. My sons and their buddies, they were in the car going, I'm like, yo, guys, shut up. They're like, is that him? Is that him? So you couldn't pick up because you were busy. But then when you called back, it was like, yo, he's calling. And then when you answered, it was like, yo, that's his voice. Oh my God, it's Tom Grossi. What is Tom Grossi? So it was like, you know what I mean? It was pretty cool, man. I got to see how the landscape of what celebrity and popular and pop culture has completely morphed and changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kids nowadays, they don't necessarily idolize people on TV anymore.
Sure.
YouTubers have truly become that niche right below music artists. Yeah. It's athletes, music artists, and YouTubers is heck, they're right there actually, because a lot of YouTubers are music artists, and then some of them, you look at Paul, right? He's doing WWE stuff, so it's it's they're actually all one and the same with these guys.
It's so interesting, Mike, because like the job that I do, I didn't really realize how insane it was until 30 and 30. Like 30 and 30 was like the big moment where that happened, because I'm just a dude sitting in my basement, usually alone, right? Like talking to a camera, and we get thousands of people in here and the community is amazing, but you don't know how that's going to translate into the real world. And so it's still a very like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like going to all the countries this year and having hundreds of people show up is crazy. So yeah, I completely agree with you. The dynamic is definitely, and the landscape has definitely shifted over the years, but baby, you Mike Daniels, and I'm just so grateful for you to come on the show. I have so many, I want to talk to you about so many things. We're going to talk about anime, your love of anime. There's
Talking myself right in the camera. There we go.
Yeah, we go
right.
right front and center. There's a bunch, we were actually, it's so funny, dude, because last night the games were not good, and we wound up talking about anime for like the entire second half in the chat. So
I got a lot of thoughts regarding what's going on with football. You know what I mean? I'm more of a character study guy versus like X's and O's guy, right? Like my brother's the head coach at our high school. I'm his defensive line coach, and they're all talking about schemes, and I'm like breaking down the players. Like for instance, it's one team, they run a very funky scheme, and I said, well, their guard can't block a child. Forget the scheme. Put our best guy on their guard and destroy everything from the middle. And that's what happened. You know what I mean? And we played really well. So it's like, I've always said the guys, we went to play the Patriots when they came to us in 14, which was 10 years ago. I mean, God, wow. And the first time between Aaron and Tom, and the coaches are freaking out because like, oh man, we don't know what type of scheme they're going to run. The Patriots change up their scheme every week. And I'm looking at the O-line. I'm like, I mean, forget the scheme. We match up really well against their O-line. Let's just go play ball. Yeah. And that's what we did. You see what I'm saying? So when I'll answer questions as you ask them, okay? Because I have a lot, about just character-wise and the psychological. I mean, I studied that stuff in school. You know what I mean? I was an honor student. A lot of people don't know that. That's why I used to talk so much trash. Why? Not only did I enjoy it, but it was a psychological thing. If I get double teamed and I lose like 3 yards or something, which didn't happen often, I'd look at the guys and say, yo, phenomenal job. Good thing my linebacker made a stop for a -1. Good job putting two guys on me and not blocking my linebacker. You know what I'm saying? So now they're like, or in the playoff game, the Darius Gunner had to start, and he's going against Dez Bryant. That's a tough matchup. And Dez called a touchdown on him. I'm running back onto the field to get on field goal block. And I'm like, yo, Dez, great job, baby. Yo, exit up, baby, exit up. You just scored on like our 8th corner. Congrats, dog. Good job. Good job. So then he ended up scoring later in the game. And his whole demeanor was like, the guys are trying to celebrate him. He's just like, and he goes back to the huddle. And I'm like, see, like, there's a psychological aspect to play with this. It didn't stop him from scoring, but it took away like his like, yeah, I'm really kicking butt. It's like, well, look who you're doing it against. And all due respect to Gun, but it's me. It's like, I'm trying to screw, screw with him. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, you're playing the mind games, right? Like that's the other element of the game. Like the trash talk does exist in today's game. And don't worry, my friend, we are going to get to the toughness that you brought to that defense. We were talking about on the phone a little bit beforehand. We talked about at WrestleMania. I actually want to start off because an original question I had to you was the generic, because you're born in Stratford, New Jersey, right? So I'm right in New York, right across. And you're born in New Jersey. And I was originally going to ask, like what drew you to football, like all that great stuff. But I was watching, you were with Crunchyroll. I believe this was 2018. You did about a 12-minute documentary with them talking about your love of anime. And during that, you talk about how you came home,
see me better now.
Oh yeah, we did the research, baby. Came home from school, kind of getting bullied and stuff, and your dad's like, all right, like I'm gonna toughen you up, getting you into wrestling, gonna get you into sports, getting you into football. And you classified yourself at that point as a nerd with muscles. One of your friends said, like, yeah, you're just a nerd with muscles. And you're like, yep, damn straight. Like that's how I'm at now.
That's what it is.
I wanted to kind of ask a different question now. Your love of like anime, and you said when you go out there, you pretend you're a Super Saiyan, right? Because then they ain't gonna stop you. And I'm a huge DBZ fan. Talking about in the gym, it's like your power levels are going up, baby. When did this kind of shift happen where your dad is getting you into sports, he's getting you into wrestling, he's getting you into football? When did the shift happen for you that it wasn't just to get tough, but it was something that you actively were motivated to do and actually started to really enjoy and get into?
It was once I started doing well, which was very soon. My dad, he had us doing, calisthenics at home, push-ups, sit-ups, squat jumps, and that gave me an edge over my opponent. So when I got the opportunity to compete, I was ready.
Yeah. And
that made sports so much fun. And I'm coaching youth football now and wrestling. My dad says, make sure you keep it fun. And I'm like, he's like, don't be too hard on them. And I said, Pop, I gotta drive them and push them hard and make them tough and strong and all those things. Because if they're going out there and they're just getting beat up, they're not going to have fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard in practice, so it could be fun on game day. And that's what I learned, playing. You get paid, for the work you put in during the week. Sundays, Saturdays, that's for fun. That's fun. That's for us.
I think it's a great way to look at it, right? It's the preparation, it's whether it's mental, whether it's physical, and then you on game day, it's like, this is when I get to show everybody else. It's not behind closed doors anymore. Look how much work I did during the week.
Yeah, no, listen, just like everybody, I hated practice, but I loved what practice did for me. I loved the idea of preparing, right? It's like camps coming up, man, like I get a chance to finally, stack the, I'll drop my light here, stack the days, right? Like really kind of get after it here. You get what I'm saying? Like, let's get better. It's time for me to actually improve. Time for me to put all my off-season lifting and running and technique work to use, right? And then, like, let's compete. If I'm going hard, excuse me.
You're good.
If I'm going hard against, like, Josh Sitton and TJ Lang and, Lane Taylor and, it's getting them ready for the season too.
Yeah.
And when I would hear those guys like complimenting me from the day I got there about like how tough it is to block me and stuff, like that made me work harder and go harder because they're freaking great players. But then two, it just let me know like, man, this is truly iron sharpens iron, because I would always get asked, who's the best lineman you ever played against? I said, yo, it's by hands down, it's my teammate Josh Sitton. He's a pain easily. And then next will be TJ. So that's my thing. That's how you get better.
I think it's also right, like the iron sharpening iron. You see it like Devontae Adams, when he's going up again, when he's in Green Bay, going against like Jair Alexander, right? Like
that's what made Jair great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're going up against premium players who are just like at the top of their game, and you're doing it in practice every single week.
Well, look who Aaron was throwing the ball against every week from his second year there. Charles Woodson. He's got to go against a Charles Woodson-led defense
every week.
See what I'm saying? Where Aaron Campbell and Kabir Bajabia-Miller coming off the edges. Nick Barnett. Are you kidding me?
Yep.
That's who he had to go against until it was time for him to play. Now I was like, yo, bro, I just already seen a phenomenal defensive backfield with him, Al Harris, Nick. I mean, yo, let's go.
Game days become a reprieve. They're just like, thank God, I don't have to throw at Charles Woodson anymore. Like I'm grateful that now I get to just go up against, whoever Washington has in their backfield.
Exactly.
For you getting into high school ball, because you weren't just a defensive tackle, you were also a running back. And, so you were doing both. By the way, I also love it's both positions where you're just getting punched in the mouth or you get to punch somebody in the mouth. So from day one,
definitely.
I have an idea of what gravitated you towards that. You're just like, I get to hit people. At what point in your career do you make the decision of, hey, this is the position group that I'm going to dedicate my time for? Like, well, I'm going to, when you have to decide, because looking at it, you had 222 tackles, 27 sacks as a running back, you over 2,200 yards, 25 touchdowns. Hey, got one of those touchdowns in the NFL too. When it comes to that, like, at what point are you looking and going, yep, this is the path that I want to try and pursue, as opposed to running back?
So obviously all kids want to do offense, right?
Of course.
And I remember stepping out on the field, and mind you, my high school, we won a total of 11 games in the 4 years I was there, right? So I'm walking onto the field, and me and my head coach at the time, he's our quarterback coach now at the high school, and we talk about this all the time. I'm literally walking out of the locker room onto the track before my very first game, my senior year, and he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he stops me and says, "Hey, Mike, if you want to, go D1, play college ball, you might want to focus a little more on your defense." And right then and there, I said, click. I was like, okay.
Okay.
And went out there and had a phenomenal day on defense against, a kid who eventually went and played D2. And I did amazing. So if I'm doing amazing against a D2 kid, automatically it's like, okay, well, he's clearly much better than D2. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's kind of when, like, it was either or. It was like, all right, I'm going to just do really well on defense, but I'm going to give my all on offense as well.
Sure.
And when Iowa called and said, we'd like to make you a defensive end, I said, oh, that's going to be great. Because Villanova, they had looked at me as a linebacker, right? And they, dropped the scholarship for some reason. It was like a kid who was going to come back from medical or whatever. And I'm like,
sure.
Hey, just don't worry. Y'all don't have it anymore. I'll go to Iowa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Iowa was my only FBS offer, right? Temple, they were 15 minutes over the bridge, and they didn't even offer me, right? And Iowa, I sat in there, and they told me, Mike, you remind us of Jonathan Babineau. You need a second-round pick to the Falcons, I think, in the 2005 draft. And he said, Coach was like, we think you make a pretty good fullback, but we know you make a phenomenal defensive tackle.
Let's go.
And I said, wait, I thought you meant I'm playing defensive end. They said, no, we're going to put that D tackle. Now, mind you, I'm 205.
Yep.
I had cut a lot of weight for wrestling, right? And I'm like, there's no way I'm playing defensive tackle in my head. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'm 6 foot tall, 205. Sure. And I started the season at 240, but I kept losing weight. So now, freaking what? We're talking, I get to college, I'm 230. I leave, I get to the combine at 291. And then I play in Green Bay in the mid to high 290s and low 300s. Every time I'm up. So it's like, I lived in the weight room. You know what I mean? But it was when I went to Iowa and they said, we think you'd be a good fullback. We think you'd be a phenomenal D tackle. That's when my whole mind was like, yep, well, I guess I play defense now. Yeah,
exactly. They're like, all right, well, that's the path that I'm on. I mean, that makes total sense. And I know your story coming out of high school, when it came to recruiting, you talked about how you kind of carried that with you, right? It was kind of lightly recruited, you're under recruited coming out of high school, and you had success obviously on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. And I wonder, because at this point, Mike, what is your first experience with football? Is it playing in high school, or did you have experience with it prior? Just tossing it around, or watching it on TV, or was your first real experience actually playing?
My first experience was really watching the Eagles with my dad.
Yeah.
My whole family. My mom watched a lot of football. My older sister, I'm 35. She's 47. She was a lot older than me. She loved the Giants, and she was a Raiders and Bills fan at the time too, early 90s. But I came from a real football watching family. Whenever my granddad, he had his own law firm, but that was how he relaxed on Sundays when he didn't have to worry about case files or anything like that, was sitting in his chair and watching football all day, so at night. So that was my first exposure to it. And I always said, I'm gonna play in the NFL. Difference is I said, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm going to make it happen.
So
you see what I'm saying?
I'm so glad you said that, because having that chip on your shoulder, and we've seen other players. I mean, Aaron talked about that all the time, right? And just that chip. What does that feel like going into Iowa? You redshirted your freshman year, going into Iowa and saying, okay, I remember reading an interview of yours, and you had a quote basically said hey, there's a shot I can make it to the NFL, right? But I got to keep that hunger. I got to keep that drive. And you willed it to happen, right?
Oh, yeah. No.
So what was your mentality coming out of high school and then just going to Iowa, which is a good distance away from New Jersey, and being okay, I am here to play football? Is it an obsessive thing where it's this is my day-to-day, it's all about football all the time? Or was there kind of, hey, there's a balance that needs to be achieved here while I'm in school?
So Real quick, the first question would be what again?
Oh, no, it's all good. It's just the chip that you had coming out of school. Like, what's
Yeah,
your mentality and how you approached football? Like, was it an obsessive mentality?
yeah.
Because this is how I'm going to make it there.
Completely obsessive. My thing was this: just get me there, get me to any big time school. I'll take care of the rest. Just find me the door. I'm kicking it in.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And that was always my mentality. You know what I mean? Like, find me. Just give me a chance because, like, you know, New Jersey, they do all conference, all group,
Yep.
all South Jersey, all state, right? I got first team all group. I wasn't even recognized for all South Jersey, right? And I just looked at the list recently, and I think only 3 guys on that list from my year went and played D1 football, even if it was, you know, FCS. See what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Yeah.
guys are getting ranked because of the high schools they went to, not because they're good. So that already pissed me off.
Sure.
Right? Being overlooked. Then I went to Iowa, and mind you, I had no stars until I got signed. So they gave me 2 because they had to give me something.
They gave you 2.
You know what I'm saying? They had to give me something. So I get to Iowa, and like, I have to work. I have to work. I'm 6 foot tall, 231. I have to work. Red shirt, gotta work. Next year, I play a little bit, gotta work. The following year, I barely play.
Yeah.
And that's the year we went and won the Orange Bowl. So now everybody's celebrating, but I'm fuming. Like, I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? That was when Adrian Claiborne, like, became the guy. You know what I mean? But I'm hot. So I started doing MMA training, Taekwondo training every weekend after workouts and stuff. And then one of my teammates, you know, he got a DUI, and then that was my chance to start. And I didn't look back. Came out, and in a year, and because they were, you know, back and forth between me and him starting, I basically started a year and a half and had 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sacks and 25 tackles for loss in a year and a half starting. So it was really like, I'm here to show you guys what I can do. Carl Klug said it the best after my first game starting. He said, "You look like a man who literally, like, just got out of jail." Like, that's how excited and happy you look out there, and just how much energy you're bringing. And that was my mentality. Get, you know, 4th round draft pick, which is a blessing because I had to get I had shoulder surgery. You know what I mean? I couldn't do the Senior Bowl or the Combine. I still went to 4th round.
Yeah.
At 6 foot tall, playing in a 3-4 scheme. Yep. You see what I mean? So I get to Green Bay, and I'm behind Jarrell Worthy, who they traded up to get in the 2nd round. And it's like, I'm only playing because of circumstances, right? I'm deactivated my first game. Mind you, I had a phenomenal camp. I mean, before the first preseason game, Josh Sitton comes up to me and says, "Hey, don't make an effing liar out of me, all right? I said some really good things about you in the media." So everybody, like, people are even kind of saying little whispers like, "Is our 4th round pick better than our 2nd round pick?" I don't know. We'll see. You know what I mean? Because Jarrell's good.
It's just camp.
Jarrell's good, right? And then, you know, I'm deactivated my first game. I have to play the next game. We lost to the 49ers. I had to play the next game because I think CJ Wilson got hurt. And I go out there and have a few pressures, the quarterback hitting a sack in my very first game, Thursday Night Football versus the Bears. Pretty big deal. Next game, the Fail Mary game, I played like 3 plays. I wasn't too thrilled about that, you know. 4th game.
10-year anniversary today.
Yeah. Woo!
12,
How
12
about
now.
that?
12, yeah.
But it's just saying, it's like everybody talks about Amon-Ra St. Brown and his thing. I'm the exact same way. I can remember all the little slights I had throughout the years. You know what I mean? I can remember all that, and it just continued to motivate me all the way through.
Well, because it seems like you have a mixture of both, right? A lot of it is coming from that intrinsic motivation of like, hey, I'm going to push myself because I'm already undervalued. I'm literally the underdog in this whole situation, going from high school, heading into college, and then getting into the NFL, right, as a 4th rounder, not the prototypical defensive tackle. And I think that, like, that weight that you carry can be insanely motivating. And before we get to the NFL, I want to point to one evening in particular. So it is November 19th against Purdue, right? That's where you had yourself a grand all night. So this is 2011.
Good game.
2011, 7 solo tackles, 5 for a loss, 3 sacks. I have 2 questions about this game. One, is it another day at the office while you're playing that game in terms of your mentality? Or is there enough room for reflection, even when you're going through it of like, oh, this is a good night?
So I'll tell you straight up, that's the game that I always seen. I'm a Christian faith, and I always said God carried me through that game because I woke up, I just didn't have it for whatever reason. I felt drained. I felt tired. I felt sick. It was nuts how I felt like garbage. And I'm like, God clearly carried me through that game. Clearly, right? So that game was a true anomaly. But I will also say this. I had been dealing with bad ankle sprains from like week 4 on, and I was jacked up until that point. And I finally started feeling healthy again. And then the next week against Nebraska, I have 9 tackles and like 2 for loss.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? And then now here comes a bowl game, and holy smokes, against the previously number 1 Oklahoma, who had a top 5 offense, 3 tackles for loss, 6 tackles and 2 sacks. You know what I mean? And it's just, once again, just show me the way, show me the door, I'm gonna kick it down. Just give me a chance. So to answer your question, preparation-wise, mentality-wise, treating it play by play, just doing my job. It was another day in the office, but there was something a little special because I had to rely on my faith on that day. Yeah. Because I just, nothing was clicking before the game, and then everything clicked during the game. Like it was, I can't even explain to this day. I just, give thanks.
The chat is saying you went even further beyond. Good old DBZ fans here. We went further beyond.
Right. I went, what was it called, man? Beyond the beyond. You know what I mean? The ascension of the ascension. You know what I mean?
My man went ultra instinct on us.
Ultra instinct plus ultra if we talking about my hero. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Hey, listen, I heard dressed up as Piccolo. That was the costume. We had to rock with Piccolo's number 1. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, man, Piccolo's the man. That was my favorite character because he truly stood on business. And I'm glad they finally gave him his just due, which some people say it's a butt pull, but I'm like, no, the guy, he said, hey, can I get my hidden potential unlocked? Yeah. And it was like, all right, cool. And now he's had a super Namekian, he's got a Namekian God form and whatever the orange one is. But it's like, yeah, he needed that, man.
Hey, listen.
He needed that.
Gohan, and listen, like about Time Chamber, all the work he did with Goku, that's great and stuff. We got to talk about Piccolo.
Whoa. I gotta become a complete weeb. You say I about Time Chamber. It's called the Room of Spirit and Time.
Okay, all right, that's on me. That's on me. That's on me.
I'm a complete weeb, bro.
That's on me. I appreciate you. I appreciate. Listen, I'm just saying, Gohan ain't getting where he's got to go without Piccolo. No. I'm just saying, my man got him there.
No way, and he knows that. And I'm glad that. I mean, it's become so well known amongst the fandom that like people make jokes like, yeah, Piccolo is his dad, and realistically, he's the godfather to Japan. Like, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Piccolo is he's so important to that series, and he was like the first true example of character development. Vegeta being the next.
I love it so much. The amount of anime that is going on in the chat is phenomenal. So this is great.
Where is this chat?
It's on YouTube, my dude. So just click on that one. You just go right through, and it's just oh yeah. I gotta ask you as we get into Green Bay.
I need somebody. Okay, 1 sec. Yeah. Hey, yo, I need somebody's iPad. I need to interact with this chat.
Let's go. Let's get that interaction, baby. Come on now.
Need an iPad that's got to stand or something.
Need an iPad stat.
Let's go, Mike. Bring it. Oh, yeah. Look, one thing about me, I love interacting with the fans.
Thank God.
Well, because, once again, I am a fan.
Yeah, dude, it's the same mentality. It's, like, you support me in any way, I'll love it.
Let me see that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Answer your question. I'm going to pull this up.
No, you're good.
It's just on your channel, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's just on the channel. Yeah, it's that link. I can send you the link too if it makes it easier for you.
My son just said anything for Tom Grossi.
That's right. We're rocking. We're vibing. That's what we do on a Tuesday night.
There we go.
All right, I got a question for you. So,
yeah,
you're working this entire time, right? You got this chip on your shoulder. You finally get the call that you're drafted. Is there a feeling of relief, or is it a feeling of like, awesome. Now I get to like the work really starts now, and now I get to show them what I'm made of, because there has to be like a mixture there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that feeling of I'm trying to pull up the chat here and it won't let me.
Nah, you good.
It's definitely like that. I'm thankful. Thank God for the opportunity.
Sure.
Now it's time for me to come in here with a bigger chip on my shoulder than I had at Iowa. Because I watched the punter get drafted ahead of me, and I'm kind of pissed off about that.
Listen, I mean, it's right. Yeah, you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Like memorizing the names of everybody who got drafted before him. Mike's out here to be like, listen, we were doing it years before. We were carrying that chip with us.
My buddy that you saw at WrestleMania, he leaned over to me and said, just remember this. A punter got drafted ahead of you. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to forget. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I love that. Listen, I'm all about carrying it and just like, because you use it, again, you could use it as a tool, right? And it's motivation. You find the chat?
Cool. I cannot. It's not pulling up on the website.
I got you. Hold up. Are you on the YouTube app or not? It's worth it. It's worth it. Here, I'll text.
App. No, it's worth it because listen, I like reading listen, man. This is what I live for.
That's what I do. Every single interview I do, I'm in the chat. That's it. I just texted it to you too, so you should be able to pull it up.
All right, good. Now,
should be able to pull it up, and it should be. Oh, that's me talking to myself. This word in.
Isn't that great? Isn't it great? It's like a mirror effect. You know what I mean? You're looking at yourself.
That's it.
I just looked at I'm like, man, I'm not that ugly. My side profile looks pretty nice. But yeah, keep the questions
coming,
the whole
bro. Interview just like, let's get the jawline going.
This is what happens when kids have 1 million apps downloaded. It should not take this long to download YouTube. But anyway, go ahead.
No, you're good, man. We're rocking.
Nah, talk to me, man. We talking.
When it comes to Green Bay, so you get in there. We were talking about this on the phone before we even hopped on the show, that the Packers, for quite some time, have been a finesse football team. And that's not necessarily an insult in any way, shape, or form. It's just like they were move fast, offensively driven. The defense, besides like the Super Bowl win in 45, and of course you have 31, which is a whole different animal. But there's kind of like, okay, teams, we're just going to score more points than, we're going to have a franchise quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. You bring this chip to the defense. And as a fan, it's very, very easy to see and go, oh, this guy is bringing something to Green Bay that there might be other guys on the team that have it 100%, but this is a leader. He is loud. He is vocal. And it very quickly, you became a fan favorite in Green Bay for what you brought on the field and, of course, off the field as well.
It depends on who you ask, because a lot of people, they weren't let me see this. Okay, I got a little light on me. A lot of people, they weren't big fans of it. I'm gonna have to pull this thing. They weren't let's just say Mike, he talks too much. Oh, he's a thug. Oh, shut up. Oh, he gets dumb penalties. Oh, this. Oh, that. When I would get a 15-yard penalty because I'd probably like hit an O lineman because he's picking on one of my, little DBs, they lose their mind. Or if I headbutted a guy because he literally held me, and the ref didn't call it, and the ref apologizes after, right? Then they blame the loss on me because it was a penalty in the third play of the game. I go to Detroit, I go to Cincinnati. That stuff happened all the time, and it was just like, all right, hey, happens. Yeah, happens. Moving on. Happens. Moving on. So there wasn't like this clutching your pearls, sky is falling because, somebody made a boo-boo mistake because he's being a little too aggressive. I coach kids, and I'm so glad I have kids I have to tell to slow down versus pick it up. Pick it up. See what I'm saying? That's a much better feeling because I know this kid cares. All right, let's go. This feels like a FaceTime. Yes, it does, Snore.
Yeah.
Mike Daniel stands on business. I am on business. Alexander Matthews Woodson. Not a thug for having your guys back. No. There was an article, if you remember, 2016, and it came out, a bunch of anonymous sources, everybody kind of talking about how I yell too much or whatever, right?
Sure.
And
how dare you?
I remember before we played the Vikings that year, when they had their new stadium, I said to myself, yo, I still remember how the Bengals and the Steelers tried to literally murder each other in that playoff game.
Correct.
You know the playoff game.
Yep.
So I said that to the guys. I was like, yo, when are we going to start hating our rivals the way the Bengals and the way the Bengals and the Steelers hate each other? When are we going to start hating our rivals? Because we kind of have this, oh, we're holier than now. We're the Packers. You guys don't belong on the field. Instead of like, I hate you. You hate me, but I hate you more. Right? I'm like, when are we going to have that? And everybody looked at me like I had 6 eyes or something. Now, I went out there, sacked like 3 tackles for loss against Adrian. He had like 11 yards before he got hurt, unfortunately, against Adrian Peterson, who led the NFL in rushing year the week before. Yep. And we lose. And I'm like, you guys are looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm saying, why can't we go out there and blow this team out by 50? Seattle had that mindset, and they did it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Broncos had that mindset. Cam Newton ain't Superman, and they treated him as such. See what I'm saying? And when the Rams played us, when I was on the Bengals, they definitely looked and said, I'm not scared of no rookie receiver and a second-year quarterback. I'm Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? I'm Odell Beckham. I'm Cooper Kupp. I'm Andrew Whitworth. I'm Matt Stafford. I'm Von Miller. What y'all gonna do to me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you I'm the big dog. And that's what I'm saying is like, we didn't really exude that the way we should have as a collective, I'm saying.
Sure.
As a collective. So that same year, later on in the year, they had the article came out. And here's why I yelled, because they heard me yelling, I was behind Randall's locker. They heard me yelling. Well, I was yelling because we were playing the Andrew Luck, who was the most sacked quarterback in football at the time.
Yes.
And we was going against his backup offensive line.
Mm-hmm. And
we didn't just go after him. And that had me frustrated because we ended up losing. I'm like, come on, man. Like, we got Hall of Famers literally lined up on this defensive front. And we're not just going and utilizing our great talent to go and attack third-string O-linemen of the worst offensive line in the NFL off the most sacked quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might yell and get mad about that. And they took that and ran with it. And I remember Alonzo Highsmith told me, said, Mike, don't worry about them other guys. You focus on what you got to do. Mike Turvik said the same thing. He said, Mike, your dad put something in you that unfortunately some of these guys didn't get. Same thing my dad put in me. Turgo was our D-line coach. And he said,
sure,
you care, but you care too much, unfortunately, for some people. So you just focus on doing your work and don't even say another word. And I finished off the season great. And then the next year, I went and had a Pro Bowl.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. All this time, I wanted us to be great. I wanted everybody to do good. I wanted everybody to do well. And all I had to do was just focus on my job. And I felt like that was what was being selfish. If I was just like, I don't care, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Sure.
See what I'm saying?
I think it's that balance, right, between like the team mentality and then like the individualistic of like, hey, this is how I want to play. But I also think that you are in a very unique position. And this comes from just years of talking to other fans.
If I'm ever looking this way, I'm reading the check, by the way.
Yeah, no, you're right. And just, I feel like Green Bay, especially when you were in Green Bay, it's gotten a little bit better now. It was very insulated, right? It was very like, we can't let any negative press get out. We can't allow there to be like any waves. It's a focus on the offense. Like, this is going to be an offensive driven team, right? It was Brett's team, then it's Aaron's team. And when you're in that situation, is that the first time that like someone is sitting you down and being like, hey, this mentality that you're bringing to the game, great, we love it. But for some, as you said, it's going to be too much. Have you had that experience beforehand?
First and foremost, the plan is my wife's. Secondly, Kendrick over Drake. Stop playing with me. What are you, sick? You drinking
Kendrick over Drake? Of course it is. That's not even an option. Come on.
And I just, sorry, favorite memory in Iowa. We'll get to that. I love cheesesteaks. Anyway, so yeah, that was, listen, I grew up in South Jersey.
Yep.
It didn't matter if you was in the hood. It didn't matter if you was in the suburbs. It didn't matter if you was in a gated community. You was going to get punched in your face.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Period. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's tough. Everybody's mean. Everybody's arrogant. Everybody got an attitude. My wife's from Iowa. She's like, oh my gosh, this is nuts. I'm like, yeah, this is the East Coast. She's like, no, my whole family's from the South Side of Chicago, and this is insane. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, remember when Alonzo Highsmith on the 30 for 30 for the Miami U, he said his buddies was telling him about his Miami team. Man, even your white guys are tough. I'm like, Jersey, we all built like that, period. That's just the attitude.
It's a shared experience, though. It really is. Like, growing up, and especially, it depends on the East Coast, too. Like, it is a shared experience of, like, that toughness that's going to have to be there.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm making. So when I was in Little League, we weren't great, but we were tough. When I went to high school, we weren't good, but we were tough. People were like, yo, that game hurt. Yeah. We don't always see the other team with ice bags and stuff for them. See what I'm saying? When I was at Iowa, that's all Iowa is toughness. That's why we had a lot of Jersey guys on the team, especially from the South Jersey area. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's all I know. So when I get to Green Bay, I'm like, everybody kind of had this attitude like, oh, yeah, nah, we good. We got Aaron.
There's two sides, baby. There's two sides to that ball.
I mean, yes, he's phenomenal.
Sure.
But in my head, I'm like, yo, but I'm literally looking at Clay Matthews and B.J. Raji and Charles Woodson. Like, we got Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Aaron is like one of the greatest.
Sure.
But dang, you know, we actually have to line up against Aaron at practice and like kind of try to sack him, not actually tackle him, you know what I mean? And like, this is fine, but when are we going to let them say, yo, guess what? We got a defense. I mean, and I think that kind of rubs some people the wrong way, that I carried that kind of attitude.
And from just sharing from the fan perspective, good God, we were waiting for years. I mean, listen, Jeff Hafley in the first 3 games, I approve of all the turnovers and stuff, but we still have been waiting for years. And it wasn't until, you know, you had guys like Zadarius Smith come in and Preston Smith come in, like Adrian, and kind of bring a little bit of that back. And I remember even like Z was talking about this in the locker room. And he's like, yeah, like, no, like we got a defense now. Like, we're building like the defensive culture. And it seemed like, and this was just from the fan perspective, it seemed like there wasn't much room for any other culture in Green Bay except the one that was focused on the offensive side of the ball, regardless of the talent on the other side.
And when I went to Detroit, and all due respect to them, you know, they paid me a lot of money.
Sure.
But Al Golden, who was a linebacker coach, he told me straight up, Mike, you probably shouldn't have played till week 5. If I was still in Green Bay, Dr. McKenzie, and people always get mad at Doc, but he's looking out for us. He'd have been like, Mike, you're sitting down till you're fully healed. I came back too early in Detroit. That's why I got injured again. Yep. And then it just started this string of unfortunate luck. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
I can say for a fact, had I been in Green Bay that year, we win the Super Bowl. Because the way the Smith brothers, if you really watch, the Smith brothers were great rushing the passer.
Yes.
So then what happened with Kenny? And I used to call Kenny and get on his tail all the time. He started kind of just rushing too, and then everybody abandoned the run. See what I mean? And
I know.
What happened in San Francisco?
Oh, I know.
See what I'm saying? They ran right where a guy would have been at.
Yep.
See what I mean? So my thing was like, I kind of in a weird tinfoil hat time conspiracy way felt like they might have gotten rid of me. I mean, you could have kept me one more year and just let me walk, but I think it would have been a little too much defensive just bravado.
I get
you got me and then Jair and then Preston and Zadarius and Amos.
Bro, like you talk about Charles Woodson, you talk about Nick Collins, like I love Nick Collins. Bro, like,
oh yeah, Nick is awesome.
We had Julius Peppers, like, you know what I mean? Like, we had like,
but see, Nick, quiet guy. Charles, quiet guy.
Yep.
Julius, quiet guy. Clay, quiet guy. Preston, not quiet. Zadarius, not quiet.
Correct.
Me, probably the loudest in the league. Jair, worse. He's me, but 190 pounds, maybe 200. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. I think it would have been too much because then now, like, you know, Green Bay is so offense centered. You know what I mean? And now it's like, dang, we have all these personalities. Who do we think we are? The Bengals? Think about it. Perfect, Pac-Man, Carlos Dunlap, Malalu. You know what I mean? It's like, Green Bay isn't like the place for all that, you know? And I think that kind of played into it as well a little bit, just a little bit. That's
Sure.
the conspiracy. But once again, was getting older, had some injuries, or had one injury.
I think it's also you
But-
mentioned like they are terrified of like negative press and things that brings unwanted
But
attention.
none of us were bad guys. That's the crazy part.
No, I know. I'm very
That's
aware.
why I said it's tenfold goofy.
Yeah.
Because all good guys we're talking about.
So in terms of like even you talk about like a guy like Devontae Adams. I know it's talking about the offense,
Stop.
right?
Right.
Devontae. Oh, Bill, appreciate you. Yeah, we're raising a bunch of money. People have already donated through the stream. We can do directly there. We've already raised about $200 just from the donos. We're gonna be donating that directly to the charity after. We're rocking, baby.
Let me send this to the guy who runs the organization, man. I should have probably texted him before we freaking got on the line. But,
He's just gonna get a
like
whole bunch of
somebody said,
donations tonight.
I
That's the
tell
posse.
everybody all the time. I'm live now. Get in the chat and say thank you to Packers Nation. By the way, are you a Badgers fan as well?
I don't really watch college football, but go Badgers.
No problem. We actually have a kid from out here. He actually grew up basically next to my hometown, going to the Badgers. Cam Miller. I don't know if he's playing wide receiver, defensive back, but he's a really good player. So Packers fan, Badgers Nation. I know I'm an Iowa guy, but we're all Packers fans. Take care of my boy Cam. Look him out. He's gonna be a great player for you guys, and I'm gonna be mentoring him all the way.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Shameless plug over. Let's go.
No, we're rocking, my friend. In terms of you're in Green Bay, and first of all, he scored a touchdown. The Lambeau Leap happened. I want to talk about when you actually get your contract extension. So you get a contract extension. It's a 2015 4-year deal, $42 million. Similar to kind of question what I asked you when you got drafted. Does that provide a little bit of validation and relief? Because now you've created generational wealth for you and your family, which is an incredible accomplishment, right? Just as a human being.
You see that TV back there?
Yep.
You see that TV?
I do.
I don't have that TV without the Packers. So yeah, generational.
Hey, listen, got that TV. Is there a little bit same thing? Is there a relief? Is there pride? Because I'm going to speak for myself. I am not a defensive tackle. I do not have the resume. I find it is difficult, especially when you talk about being motivated and just like go, chip on your shoulder, 100%. Is there any room for pride? And I don't mean in a negative way. I mean, it was like, damn, I did this, right? I got help 100%. No one ever does it alone, but I did this. I got generational wealth for my family. I'm playing in the NFL, which is a dream that when I was playing in high school, does that contract and that commitment and investment from the team, what kind of emotions are like running through you at that time?
I signed it the night before we played the Cowboys out there, and we won in 2015, and I really felt like, okay, this is the result of my faith in my Father in heaven, right? Result of that, result of what the work I've been allowed to do, been blessed to do, and result of me just really trying to do things the right way. Quite frankly, I could have went in the open market and Malik Jackson made $90 million.
Yeah.
If I got 42 and he got 90, there was probably 60 there for me, But I took what I got because I wanted stability. Green Bay provided stability. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the Packers gave me everything I needed. Everything. I could have went somewhere and been miserable and probably been released before I seen, after 2 years on that contract.
Sure.
Or stayed at home, where I knew them, they knew me.
Yeah.
I was their guy. See what I'm saying? And it was just a blessing. And my mentality, because the week before was the Hail Mary, Rodgers to Rodgers.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't realize that defensive series, we stopped them. And I shot in the backfield. I should have been credited for 2 tackles for loss, but I got 1. Julius got the other one. I mean, if they came between me and Julius, they're going to give him the stat. You know what I'm saying? And the other play, we just stopped them. So it's like Larry McCarron covered that. And I think that's kind of made them say, all right, let's go ahead and sign this, because without that series, we lose the game that we needed, because if you remember, we lost every home game to our divisional opponents that
I'm
year.
very aware.
First time the Lions ever beat us at home since like 1990.
Yep.
So it just was like, this is what happens, Mike, when you focus on just playing football. The contract takes care of itself. And it did. And it said, all right, let's get back to work. Back to work.
We were talking about this on the phone. You went to the Pro Bowl, right? And you had guys coming up to you and being like, Mike, which number Pro Bowl is this for you?
Listen,
like, my dude, is one. One.
It was one. People, I never forget, Russell Okung, amongst others, like, were asking me, what's the name? Joe Staley, and Shady, McCoy, what I mean? It's like, man, so what number is this for you? These guys are on like freaking 5 and 6. I'm like, It's my first one. And they're like, Mike, come on, bro. We know you be telling jokes, man. Stop playing, bro. What number is this for you? I'm like, this is my first Pro Bowl. And they just couldn't. It didn't register to them.
Yeah.
Because going into every game, I was the game plan since the end of 2014. How do I know that? I know people on other teams. And I'd always get a call or a text. I'll see guys at the game that said, Mike, man, boy, first meeting we had, your picture was blown up on the screen for us all to see. It was like, yo, they got some Hall of Fame guys, but we got to stop this guy because we'll lose if we don't. And if you look at statistics, I was always one of the most double teamed in the NFL. Even when I was at the Bengals in 2020.
Yeah.
I was like number 11th. Number 11 after barely playing the year before because I was injured. You know what I mean? In my twilight years, I was still like a threat. Like, I talked to my buddies, and Xavier Suafilo, he was with the Lions, and he was with the Cowboys. And when I was with the Lions, he said straight up, like, yeah, coach actually tried to tell us, hey, this guy ain't what he used to be, whatever. He said him and Zach and Tyron, all those guys, they were like, yeah, coach. And they went and said, yo, we're going to work on the bull rush because we know who Mike is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm, pretty close with, we have the same team, Rudolph, Kyle from the Vikings. And
oh, yeah.
When I was in Detroit, we had the same therapist, and, she's working with me, and I'm asking, like, yo, man, so what did Kyle say, about our game? She said, oh, no, they were still very concerned about you, just like as if you were the Packers. So that's the point I'm making, is that a lot of people don't know how good I really was. And that's not my job to tell them that.
Sure.
That's not my job. I get my accolades from my brothers. Kevin Green said that to me years ago. He said to me when I was a rookie, and rest in peace to KG. He said, and then he talked like a WWC wrestler, WCW wrestler, right? He said, Big Daniels, we got a lot of swinging, what's on this team. But I tell you what, you poking me in the chest, just old, hard, rugged fingers. You would have been able to play with us. You would have been able to play with us, Big Daniels. It don't matter what anybody thinks about you, but your brothers. I'll never forget that.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget him saying that to me. And from then on, whenever I get overlooked, I didn't mind, because I said, you know what? What are my opponents saying? Because I saw Jason Peters at the club in the AC after my second year. And he said, Mike, we all tried to vote for you in the Pro Bowl from the Eagles. He said, but your name wasn't on the list. I was like, yeah, because I wasn't a starter. So stuff like that, you know what I mean? And I can only go for things guys tell me. If you think I'm lying, just go ask them. We playing the Eagles, and I'm on the Bengals, and Jason Kelsey said straight up after the game, said, Mike. Because, at this point, my playing time has been, greatly decreased from the time of the Lions and the Bengals. He said, Mike, dude, what's with all these teams disrespecting you, bro? I said, hey, it's just the point of my career I'm at, brother. Sure. It's just getting that time, becoming that time for me. You know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't mind that.
No.
Because it was tough at first, but I understood, I'm at that point in my career where there's a certain tag on me.
Yes.
And no matter how hard I work, it's just there, like a bad stench, and I can't do nothing about it until, I'm over with. And it's like, okay, it is what it is. And it happens to everybody at different degrees, so I'm cool with that.
Do you think it's also, Mike, because you're talking about it you just
RPKG straight up.
you put your head down and worked, right? Like from day one, you're putting your head down and work, you're doing it and you're putting in the time. And I think that's kind of what I was asking you about the contract and like having that pride and kind of getting that respect from your peers. I think it has to feel good just be like, all right, somebody notices, especially if you're, and this is no shade at the Packers at all, if you're within an organization, you only go to one Pro Bowl, right? That it's like, hey, maybe temper down a tiny bit. It has to feel good, and you can take some pride in like, damn, all right, people beyond my team are seeing the work, the portfolio of work that I've put in, and it is something to be proud of. Is that something that like today, you know, now removed from the NFL, that you have reflected on, and you're like, damn, all right, I can carry that now, you know, instead of that.
I
that
posted
shit.
this when Aaron Rodgers says this guy was a great, after I got released, this guy was a great teammate, going to miss him, and I hope I hope we don't have to play against him.
Yep.
I mean, come on, bro. Come on. That's like, think about one of the basketball greats. Like, think about like Jordan saying, yo, I hope I don't have to play against John Smith. You're going to look at John Smith way differently. Like, wow, Jordan don't want to play against him?
Yep.
So Aaron knows something that a lot of the people on the outside don't know. A lot of stuff that people don't know. Oh, God. Who was the Steelers offensive coordinator? Forget his name, man, for a long time.
Oh, at that time?
He was there when what's his name? Todd Haley, is that his name?
Oh, Haley, yeah. Haley.
Haley said this: Mike Daniels is the best player we've seen all year. Travis Frederick, no, Case Keenum said to me at the Super Bowl, or no, ESPYs, Mike, you're literally the best D tackle we played all year, and yes, that includes the Rams. People will think I'm smoking crack if I were to say that out loud. But
you're hearing it.
There's a lot of great players that you don't know how good they really were until you ask those who played against them. Then you got a lot of guys who, all due respect, they get a lot of accolades because the situation they're in allows them to maximize their talents.
Sure.
I played in the 3-4 where I had to hold up double teams all year. And then I didn't play third down my third, fourth, and fifth year. My sixth year, I played third down, and then I went to the Pro Bowl. Then I came off third down again the next year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, because we had different type of guys that was going in to rush the passer, you know, then you compare that to like, let's say like Aaron Donald or Atkins or Cox, who are lining up and just going to go make a play every play. Not saying they're not playing with great technique, because they are, and I respect all those guys, Gerald McCoy included. But they're allowed to go and just hair on fire, just go play, because the linebackers are hair on fire. Forget if they throw a deep bomb, we don't care, go raise some hell. Here's like, Mike, play your gap, hold the double teams, be a good teammate, be a good team player. Hey, I'm cool with that. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Because if I were to go hair on fire, well, then that leaves a big hole, and holy smokes, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And you know, and that's just selfless football. Because there's a lot of guys that I played against that I saw that I'm like, yo, he don't get talked about as much as he should. There's some guys where I'm like, yo, that dude is a monster. How come nobody talks about him?
I feel like, and now it's so interesting that you say that too, because I feel like when you look at like the NFL top 100 lists that come out every year, right? I feel like now a lot of people look at that and they're like, all right, I don't know what that means. Maybe they're just going off name recognition. And to hear like this perspective of saying, no, like these are my brothers who are saying, no, you are getting overlooked. And a lot of times big names will reach out to the fans and then the media will pick up on it, etc. But it's the guys like in the trenches, maybe not the sexiest, you know, position, that it's like, no, like we're in there and we're doing the work.
We have a list that they would give to everybody. And it's 20 slots. And it says, write your top 20 players in the NFL. And that's how every single player, you will come in like, I don't remember, maybe like week 12, 13, so late in the year.
Yeah. And
you would have to fill out. It'd be literally sitting in everybody's locker, and you'd have to fill out your top 20 players. So a lot of people don't realize the guys in the top 100, they were actually voted in guys' top 20.
Oh,
People
damn.
don't realize that. So if you see the guy who's like number 100 on the list or something, there's a lot of guys in the NFL who wrote them in as their top 20 player, one of their top 20 best players in the NFL. A lot of people don't realize that.
No, I didn't even. That's pretty sick though. All right, so like even time you come on that list, you're like, hey, somebody thinks I'm in their top 20. That's pretty good. I got 2 more questions for you, Mike, because I want to be respectful of your time. And I really appreciate you.
I got all time, bro. I this is what I do.
The chat is loving you right now. This is great. We were raising a bunch of money. We just had a whole bunch of donos. We had hundos. We had 50s coming in.
Listen, my buddy that you met, the dude,
yeah,
the Spanish homie with the ponytail.
Yeah.
He's in the chat. His name is Mike Signs. He's in there.
Let's go, Mike.
He just texted me and said, oh, so you didn't mind that me not playing third down. I absolutely hated it, to be honest with you. And after my third year, because I was second on the team in sacks behind Clay Matthews.
Yep.
The next year, I played only first. I go from being a guy who can't play the run in 1 year to being a guy who can't run the passer. You're a first, second down player. And my dad said after that year, I'm all fuming. He's like, yo, go be the best run stopping D-tackle in the NFL. And, well.
All right.
All right. And out of 3-4 DNs, even though I'm a D-tackle,
yeah,
I was always considered top 3. So, yes, no, I hated it. Actually. I was trying to be politically correct, but let me stop. I hated it. But guess what? It is what it is. It made me work harder.
We're in the deep water now.
Yeah.
I knew you respect that. We're rocking. I want to talk about real quick your time with the Bengals. And you mentioned this because I think I'd probably put out a video when you went to the Bengals and, just I was going to miss you on the team just because just seeing you as a fan and seeing all the work that you did. We're getting 50 bombs that are going all to charity. We're rocking and rolling right now.
Hey, real quick, top for a Lions fan, right?
Yep.
Mind you, sorry, brother. It was not my fault that I was not healthy, bro. I probably shouldn't have played as early as I did. So I'm sorry I didn't give y'all what I was able to give the Bengals. And that's to be part of the Super Bowl run. But and the culture change. Dan Campbell's taking care of y'all good. Top 3 anime. Love Dragon Ball Z, obviously. Duh, come on, bro. What are you drunk, dog? That's my favorite, right? Holy crap. Can I think right now? Demon Slayer is going crazy right now. And then Yu Yu Hakusho. You know what I'm saying? Top 3 manga. Battle Royale. And they just did another one for it. Yeah, go check it out. All right, continue. Sorry.
Do not apologize. Mike, this is why I wanted to have you on, my dude. I was just like, as soon as I was like, yeah, this show is happening, you were like my first text of like, hey, boss, like I want you on the show. We're gonna
my man.
That's it. You're on the Bengals team. You go to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
You start putting out videos about like, hey, because they elevated you to the active roster because you're on the P squad, right? You're making videos. Unfortunately, inactive was a coach's decision. I think they were waiting for somebody to see if they were injured or not.
Yeah, it was one of those things, yeah.
Yeah. Do you look back on that particular game, and take the result out of it, right? So the Bengals didn't win that year. Do you look at that game with like fondness, or is there a sense of more like disappointment of like, damn, I really wanted to play there? Because obviously with Green Bay, we got so close so many times for you to be able to play on that stage or at least even just be there. So I'm curious.
The human in me says, and the competitor and the realness says, yo, same with the Packers and against the 49ers. If I literally play 20 plays, I'm at minimum causing havoc up the middle. I got to play in one game, and it was against Wyatt Teller and Joe Bitonio, and I had 2 tackles for loss, 5 tackles, and like some quarterback pressures. And this against, they straight up told me, Mike, this game was way harder because they sat all of our starters, right? Is that this game was way harder than it was in the first game when we kicked y'all butts.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, it was like, dang. I wish I'd have played because I would have easily impacted that game. With that being said, yo, hey, it's the NFL. You know what I mean? You can't do it. And I did learn a lot from that experience, man. And something, once again, like, it wasn't meant for me because if I'm playing Donald Driver, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Sitton, TJ Lane, David Bakhtiari, Corey Linsley, freaking Jeff Saturday, Brian Balaga, John Kuhn, Eddie Lacy, like, you feel me? Aaron Jones,
Yep.
Jamal when he's young, Martellus Bennett, Jared Cook, Jermichael Finley, like, you know what I'm saying? Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson. I'm sorry, those are just the offensive guys.
Yeah.
Donald Driver, right? And if I'm missing some, I'm sorry. Charles Woodson, Clay Matthews, AJ Hawk, Tremont Williams, Sam Shields, Micah Hyde, Casey Hayward, Clay Matthews, Julius Peppers, BJ Raji. And I'm just naming the names that people would remember. But there's a lot of really good guys that a lot of us don't, that a lot of you guys don't know about, like Sam Barrington and Chris Banjo. You know, I'm playing with like Clinton Dix, Morgan Burnett. Like, just listen to the names I've named. Jair Alexander, like, yep. I'm naming a few Hall of Famers, a bunch of all pros, and then myself. And we couldn't get to the Super Bowl, but yet I go to the Bengals, and
yep,
we got a bunch of guys that nobody knows them outside of Bengals brass. All due respect, a lot of people won't know, and we run the table. I'm like,
hey, you ran the table before it was cool. I'm just saying.
Maybe it just wasn't for true. I'm like, maybe it just wasn't for me to experience that, because I'm like, how did I miss it with this group of like Hall of Famers? Really?
Yeah.
I probably named about 5 future.
There's a bunch in there.
2 current Hall of Famers. What I'm talking about? You know what I mean? And Jari Evans was one of them. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, you know. And then I go to the Bengals, and right now the only players of note people can think of right now, Joe Mixon was one at that time.
Sure.
Joe Burrow,
you got Chase, you got
Lamar,
T. Higgins,
and T. Higgins, and then Trey Hendrickson.
Yep.
Those are the only guys anybody ever talks about. 5.
Yeah. Reader's gone. Yep.
5. At the Packers, I named 5 guys per position.
Sure.
But I'm gonna tell you, when you get a bunch of guys who, all due respect, is a B+ talent, maybe B at best, but they play at a B and B+ every single play, you're going to beat guys that are A+, A- talent when they don't give that every play. And that's what we did in Cincinnati.
After Cincinnati, right, at what point are you going, okay, I'm done, right? Or this is, like, we're kind of closing the book on the NFL playing chapter of your life.
Listen.
And what goes through your head when that happens?
After the Super Bowl, I was not done. I kept training. And I might have been in some of the best shape that I ever was. And I was thicker, I was bigger, but I was still moving phenomenally, right? And it's crazy because, like, my wingspan got wider and my hands got bigger since the combine. And then I weighed 313, but I still looked like I was 295. And they I had my workout with the Chiefs, right? I had a workout with the Chiefs going into their playoff run, the year they won against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the scouts, GM, DC, D-line, everybody said, yo, this guy looks like he has not lost a step. That was the words to my agent.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like he lost a step. So if I don't like I've lost a step, and when I was at my best, I was top 5. That means you still think I have top 5 potential. At that being said, I didn't get signed. And when that happened, that's when reality hit me, like, you know what? If they are still looking at me and saying he looks amazing, can't sign him though, for whatever reason, age, injuries, whatever. It's like, you know what? Yeah, it's over. It's over.
So what's that for you though, dude? Because like there has to be, I don't know if the reflection comes yet of like, hey, just like full of gratitude, all that great stuff. I'm assuming some of that definitely comes later. But at the
Top
time,
100 player 3 times, Ogun. Go ahead. Sorry.
At that time, man, like that's gotta, does that hurt, or is that kind of just like, all right, now I gotta just like, how long does that process take to face that and go, shit, I gotta figure out what's next?
So I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you this right here. I literally had one of these. All right. I had one of these, bro.
Let's go.
I went to a high school that won 11 games in 4 years. I went to the University of Iowa as a defensive tackle, weighing 205 pounds on my feet because I was wrestling. 6 foot tall. You get what I'm saying? I went to Iowa as a 4th round draft pick in a 3-4 system that didn't allow me to utilize any of my real skills. So I had to learn new skills. I had a first-round draft pick drafted, you know, and another first-round draft pick drafted a few years later. A bunch of guys saw me coming in every year. And yet I didn't even play third down half the time I was there. I was not supposed to be the guy, but yet I'm walking away with a Pro Bowl jersey, something that I always said, that'd be cool if I did. I always said I'm going to the NFL, but then I said, man, it'd be cool if I went to the Pro Bowl. And I did. And I'm like, yo, that's
10-year career, man.
Bro, 10 years.
10 years.
And for fan bases that have love for me, I was with the Bengals for 2 years, and their fans still show me so much love because they appreciate what I brought to the team in those 2 years, because that was part of that turnaround of the Joe Burrow era. And that's the stuff that makes me be able to say, I had a hell of a career, man. Hell of a career. Just like my boy Sign said, can't nobody take away that decade.
Yeah,
Kurt, I ain't going on no cruise, Kurt. But nah. And that's the thing. Some guys take it for granted. I'm so serious. They really do.
Yeah.
They really do. I used to hear this in the locker room in Green Bay, not Detroit and Cincinnati, in Green Bay. I will never say names. I used to hear, yeah, man, I don't like night games, bro. I just want to get it over with so I can go home early.
And you're just looking at it, you're just sitting, staring. Yeah.
I heard a guy say one time, yo, this is in December. We could really like go to the playoffs. It was a snow blizzard. We can go to the playoffs and deal with this bull S. Or if we don't, or we lose and we can just go home. Get out all this weather.
Listen. It's like,
so when I would say, yo, I'm tired of us getting smacked. When we gonna smack somebody, hell yeah, they're gonna say, oh man, Mike yell too much. Oh, Mike talk too much. Mike do too much. But then I go to Cincinnati, and it's like, Mike, we want you to give all the team speeches, big dog. I'm like, yo, I'm on the practice squad. I'm not doing no talking.
Yeah.
I'm not even playing. I respect the game too much. And Sam Hubbard and Joe Burrow was like, Mike, you're the emotional leader of this team. Zach Taylor brought me back for the rookie talent show in a Stone Cold type entrance. I'll send you the video. It's pretty cool. But like, because he's like, Mike, man, I just want you to bring some juice.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even on the team. So it's stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still text with Coach Lou Anarumo and Coach Hobby, my D-line coach in Cincinnati, and Coach Easton, my first D-line coach in Cincinnati. I still am in contact with Matt Patricia and Coach Bo Davis, who's my D-line coach, and Al Golder, who's my linebacker coach. All my strength coaches I talk to. Because there's a respect and appreciation when you try to do things the right way. And that's all I ever did. And unfortunately, being young, I didn't know how to express that properly.
Yeah.
By the time I got to Cincinnati, I got better at expressing it, but they were more open to it. So that helped too.
Well, it's a perfect transition because when I was watching the Crunchyroll interview, there was a line that came out of that, and you said it's okay to be you. Right?
I mean, come on.
I mean, my friend,
let's talk about that.
You being you, barely recruited out of high school, going to Iowa, doing everything you did at Iowa, getting drafted, going to the NFL, making the Pro Bowl, having a 10-year career. And you did that by being you. I think that's pretty damn good, man. I think that's pretty damn good.
I'm thankful. That's why when you saw me at WrestleMania, I'm like, yo, Tommy, have a good time tonight, baby. You know what I mean? Instead of, I could have been sitting in there like, dang, man, I actually played in this stadium before, man. Oh, damn.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? Nah, man. I'm thankful for what I've been blessed to achieve. And now it's my job to help others be able to achieve that as well. That's why I'm coaching.
Yep. And that's it. And that's the next part of it, right? Because you're still very...
Well, hold on, Jordan, I definitely created it. Like, if you watched Aaron Donald on The Pivot,
yeah,
he said straight up, when he got to the Rams, the coach told him, bro, don't even listen to me. You go out there and just go make the plays. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of talking and coaching, but don't even listen.
It's not for you. I'm talking to everybody
And I'm
else.
like,
It's
and
not
he
for you.
said himself, because Aaron's a blue collar guy from Pittsburgh. He works very hard.
Yeah.
Look at him. He clearly works hard, right? He's 6 foot tall. He said himself, like, yo, I'm a rookie. I haven't done S in the NFL yet. And they told him, like, yo, bro, you just go play.
Yep.
Just go play. And I'm like, you know what? They wanted him to be able to be his best him. Everybody doesn't get that.
No.
They don't. They don't. That's why they get so mad at, and that's why they call first rounders busts. Because it's like, yo, we're literally telling you, do whatever you need to do to be great. We will fully support you. These other guys, they got to do what we say, but you can do what you need to do.
They have to do the work. Yeah, exactly.
But so when a first rounder goes out there and can't produce, it's like, bro, we literally gave you opportunities that we don't give anybody. We don't give anybody. We gave it to you, and you couldn't do it. You're a bust. You suck. Get out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Mike, you bring up a really good point, and I don't want to keep you longer, but you just brought up a really interesting point about football as a whole, because that's something that I am fascinated with, especially talking about like the QB position in which guys go into scenarios, especially their first rounders. They're usually getting drafted in scenarios that are not great, right? Where is that line? Because it's also, hey, we invested a ton into you. And so if you don't produce, if you don't yield the results that we're looking for in this amount of time, then it's, hey, get off, because we need to move on then. What is that like? Because of just being around with players and being around first round picks, is the mentality, I'm not going to call it a softer mentality, because I'm sure there is a ton of pressure, especially intrinsic and external, being a first round pick. But where you went as a fourth rounder, I don't want to ask, did you prefer it? But without those expectations and just being able to walk in and surprise people like TJ Lang, like literally day one, are you happy with the path that was like laid out before you and the way that you were able to get the job done in the 10 years you're in the NFL?
Simplify the question. I'm sorry.
No,
because I was just thinking about last night, and I put this tweet out, and I'm glad we're actually talking so the world can hear this.
Yeah.
The Bengals picked up one of the top offensive tackles in the draft this past year, right?
Yep.
The Redskins drafted a 7th round edge rusher.
Yep.
That 7th round edge rusher got a sack on that top offensive tackle pick on Monday Night Football. So 5-star high school football guys, athletes going into college. 1st round draft picks, athletes going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Just know there are guys who did not get all the fame and flash and hype and all the top. Yeah, I said it, top that you got from the media and everything. You know what I mean? They didn't get all that.
Yeah.
And they sitting back and they watching you, and they watching and this literally happened at the combine. I'm with, I had to use the bathroom, so did Melvin Ingram, and he was supposed to be a top pick. And they're like, I'm watching Warren Sapp, you know what I mean, slobbing over, pointing, oh, look at it, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing the cameras, like we both had to use the bathroom, and, big bathroom. And as I'm walking in, I see the camera literally trying to follow him into the bathroom. I'm like,
bro,
blazing at an all-time high, bro. This is like, I'm not mad at it, but I'm pissed at it. I'm like, yo, chill out.
Yeah.
Chill out. I know you got to have a story, but yo, come on now. The man got to use the bathroom, bro. So I'm like, just know this, fellas. There's dudes that watch how everybody was pointing and looking at them while they was getting ready to do their run at the combine. And when they get to run the 40, everybody turned around and go watch the other guy who just ran, who's sipping water now. And they looking at him drinking water while that kid's running his 40.
Yeah.
While you getting all the scholarships, that kid's reading about you and seeing all your clips on the gram and on TikTok, and he just getting one. So when he gets his chance to go against a guy like you, he coming to kick that ass, just so you know. And we saw that last night. A 7th round pick, rookie, got a sack on the top offensive tackle in the draft. So just know, dudes is gunning for you because they mad they don't have what you got.
Yeah.
And that's just the competition. That's the competitive edge that they don't tell these 5 stars and these 1st round draft picks. They don't tell them that when they get there. They don't tell them there's dudes who can't wait to get hands on them.
Yep.
They don't tell that 5-star, yo, there's a kid who's a freaking walk-on that's going to put them hands when y'all play against them. They don't tell that first rounder there's free agents who this game is their last chance to be able to feed their family, and he'll tear your head off. You see what I'm saying? They don't tell them that. And then they get mad at them kids when they don't produce. Well, you need to tell them the honesty. Tell them the reality that, yo, your food, your blood in the water to some of these guys.
Well, I think it speaks to the point that, talk about practice and all the grueling week in and week out, but on game day, things get equal real quick, right? And it doesn't matter you were drafted in the first round. It doesn't matter if you weren't drafted, right? They're going to hit you the same.
Hey, the higher you are, the harder they're going to hit you.
Yeah.
Because now
you got that contract, you got those guarantees. I didn't get this. Well, here we go.
Yo, it's like I'm tired of hearing about how good he is, bro. Fred Morris. I believe they're from like Cat Williams said, you might be better, you might be called better than me, but let's line up, boy, straight up.
Yep.
Pensacola. We're the same draft. Fred was 7th round pick. Trent Richardson was number 2 or number 3 overall. And we'll do Kurt. And we were sitting around at IMG training, and Fred is fuming. Like, I'm tired of everybody acting like Trent Richardson is the only running back that's coming out of Pensacola, Florida. I'm tired of it. They act like he's the only one. He's like, don't worry, I got something for that. Fred goes to the Pro Bowl his first 2 years, and Trent, a different career trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, but it's where we started with this interview, right? And talking about that chip that you carry with you. And it's not being given all the accolades. It's not being highly recruited. And I'm not saying that there's obviously first round talent that obviously has produced, right? And they're putting in work and all that great stuff. But yeah, it's also the human element of like, hey, it is so. We were talking about this last night. There's less than 2,000 players in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
In the world. That is an elite group of people.
I think 2016 to be exact, not including the practice squads.
There you go.
Which is there's 10 on each team now, 320, I guess. So
yeah. So I mean, you're looking at people who, with all these different backgrounds, all these different stories, who have made it on that field on game day. It's a great equalizer, man. It's a great equalizer, and the only thing that you have with you is what you're carrying, right?
Well, so that's my thing, right? And I wanted to kind of say this because, I appreciate my younger brother and stuff, and it's like my younger brothers, remember, if you have success, just know people they're coming at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a reason why the Packers are consistently good, and why we see, unfortunately, sometimes some teams, like the Bengals kind of do this a little bit, right? Because ever since that Super Bowl, there's been a lot of chatter, and I can say that now because we have a blatant example of it from last night, and from Burrowhead and all the other stuff. I'm with like the bravado and all that stuff. There's just a way you do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't write a check that others got to cash.
Yep.
And I remember I did that accidentally, not knowing in my youth, because I'm excited. People starting to talk about me. People starting to talk to me. And, media's giving me attention. We get ready to play the Seahawks first game of the season. And I'm like, we're going to punch them in the mouth, figuratively, not literally.
Yeah.
And we got punched in the mouth. And I was like, all right. Note taken. Let me shut up.
That's my bad.
And let me play. I'll talk during the game. But in front of the media and all that, I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm excited for my guys to get going. And that's that's what it's going to be. You know what I mean? It'll be, I'm excited for my guys to get going, and we're just going to play, just try to play our best. Keep it real generic. Don't bring none of that, because like for me, if my teammate was talking crazy, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go make him right. Let's go make him right. Everybody doesn't have that mentality. And some guys just might not have the skill to make you right. And that's not their fault.
Sure.
Shut your mouth. So you can't say comments like we're the team to beat when the Chiefs have 3 Super Bowl rings. Right. I could say, yo, we the best team in the NFL because we beat the Patriots, but they went and won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
I can't say that. I can't say that.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a way you do things. There's a way to be an a-hole. There's a way to be a professional a-hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have some poise with it though.
It's gotta be refined, right? And be like, right. It's situational.
You can't say, so when I told you about that speech before the Vikings game and I went and had a good game, one of our player development coordinator, Rob Davis, he said, Mike, good job. If you was going to talk like that, you better have played the way you did. And I'm like, he's right. So you can't make a comment about Burrowhead or we're the team to beat or
sure.
college offense. And we have nothing on our finger. Nothing on our finger.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? To reflect that. When we lost, one of the guys, our starters, premier, walked into the locker room and after the Super Bowl, and he said, "Nah, don't worry, we're gonna be back next year." Like as if he just knew for a fact they were returning. And I'm like, I don't think they understand
how hard it is.
How hard it is. Like, you'll never have another Super Bowl run where every single playoff game leading up to the Super Bowl ended with the other team's offense throwing an interception.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So it's like, and I only say this, I was like, and I told them this after one of our practices for the Super Bowl. I said, man, it's pretty awesome that, you know, and it's, you know, Mixon, Hubbard, Joe, you know, we're all, sure. You know, on the bus together. And I'm like, you know, Bates, you know, and I'm like, yo, it's cool. Like, you know, because they're all talking like, yo, people, they got to respect us now. And I'm like, I'm with that. I like that dog mentality. But there's a way you do it, right? Because I said, guys, understand, this is pretty cool, but there's nothing more satisfying than beating a team that had your game circled during the offseason. And I think in that moment, they got real quiet because I think it kind of hit them like, you know, we didn't really get everybody's best shot.
Yeah.
Because even after the Packers beat us that year, after there was that field goal fest, right?
Yep.
Devontae even said, man, that is not the same Bengals. Meaning they came into the game like, all right, it's the Bengals. Let's go.
I think Rodgers said that too, right? It's like when you're part of the Packers and you talk about like their success.
You got it, Frank. Yep.
They're circled every time because it's like, no, you're wearing that uniform. You represent the Packers. So the Packers are always going to bring
everybody's big game. And now guess what? Cincinnati, we didn't start off 0-2 the year we went to Super Bowl, but they're starting off like that now. And now they're 0-3 is because everybody has them circled.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like you got to have a hint of realism on your team.
Sure.
And I would always try to bring that, but it might have made people uncomfortable because I remember when we beat the Bears to win the division when Aaron chucked it off to Randall.
Oh, I know. 2013, yep.
Everybody's cheering and they're all excited. I'm sitting on the bench. And in my head, I'm like, why did this game come down to this? We need to get this corrected or else we're going to be in some trouble. And we freaking lost the next week to the 49ers.
Oh, I know. That wild card game. Yep, in the cold. Short sleeves. Oh, I know. Oh, I remember. Hey,
I'm just saying. I remember sitting there going like, "Yo, we're celebrating a little too hard.
We got to clean up."
It should. Hey, this is just me being real because I was always told after I did something good, "Yo, you still ain't do this yet, so keep up the work, keep working."
Just to end it with this, I mean, I think for you to have that perspective too, right? Coming in, 10-year career, you're at the Super Bowl and you lose, but it's, hey, we'll be back here next year. And how you said in this interview, you rattled off all of the names of the phenomenal players that you have played with. You're like, man, I didn't even get to a Super Bowl with all those guys. you don't even know, right? But to be able to get to that point late in your career and have that appreciation still of like, damn, yeah, would I like to play? Sure, of course. Who wouldn't? That's the competitor in you. But to have that experience of, damn, man, like I was on a team that went to the Super Bowl, which is a very short list.
And how many Super Bowls have there been?
And what are we at now?
What are we at?
58, 59, something like that, I think. What are we at?
Next year will probably be 60 because 50 was 50, 58?
At 53, 58? I don't even know. What are we at? Hold on. Super Bowl. Now, I got to do math. Super Bowl 58 was last year. So it is 59. 59 coming up.
59. So we're talking about, what, 118 teams? Or 116 teams at that point? And I was on one of them. If my math is correct. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, that's crazy. It's crazy to be part of that.
Mike.
And it just goes to show there's just the way you do things.
And they can't take it away from you.
No.
Can't take that jersey away from you.
I go back and I watch some of my film because my kids always ask, how good were you? How good? The guys I coach. And I'm like, all right, let me pull up clips of me versus Jason Kelsey, Tyron Smith, Zach
Let's
Martin,
go.
Brandon Sheriff, all these great guys that you guys know, Adrian Peterson, Tom Brady. Let me pull up clips of me, of your coach versus them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm watching a lot of those plays, and it's insane how out of position a lot of guys are so many times. And that's all I ever wanted was like, guys, can we just do our freaking job? Mm-hmm. Just there's so many plays. Like, I'll never forget one specifically because we were number one run defense. Cowboys were number one run offense with a freaking rookie. And we had shut down Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson twice, and Marshawn Lynch the year before.
Yep.
And I'm like, yo, we got a rookie, bro. I don't care how good he's doing. We got a freaking rookie. And we were stopping him up pretty good until one play. And I'm looking. And just a couple guys were out of position right before the half. Mm-hmm. And Zeke ran for like 20 yards. And then snowball effect. And I'm like, I so badly wanted us to show that we were the best. But it's like when I would say that, it will only land on like a couple guys' head. Like, yeah, sure. Mike, let's do it. And that's the difference. That's the difference between the Packers now and the Packers then. See, the Bengals was like, yo, we all need to do it. We don't have no Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's why everybody was where they were supposed to be. Mike Hilton is the smallest player in the NFL and has single tackled Derrick Henry several times because he's doing his job.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? So
you can't rely on an offense. You can't rely on a franchise quarterback. It's like, nope, it's literally every single person on this defense needs to do their job or this is not going to go well.
I'm telling you, that's what it has to be because there were so many times where I'm watching, I'm like, yo, all they got to do is get contained. All they got to do is this. All they got to do is that. And it's like, man, the motto in Cincinnati was do your job. Guys, if everybody just did their job, we would be fine. I lost my train of thought because I was going to make another point here. And when I figured out, I'll text it to you. You can say, Mike Daniel said this in the next show, whatever. But that was the thing with us. Because, oh, yeah, here it is. The Packers now. Yeah. Why are they succeeding with Malik Willis? And you can say, oh, look at the quarterbacks they played against. It's still the NFL.
Yeah, it's the NFL.
Why are they succeeding? Because Aaron's gone. And that team fully understands, yo, we need to do this as a collective. We need to do this as a collective. So now when Jordan gets hurt, the sky ain't falling. It's like, all right, next man up. Let's play. Let's play.
Yeah. I mean, that's also the beauty of football, man, right? It's not, hey, like one person could just dominate the game. No. I mean, like, yeah, if you're a mobile quarterback, right, you're a Lamar Jackson who you can run and throw to yourself sometimes, right? Like, you can do it. But, like, that's why it's, hey, there's all these other guys next to you. Everybody's got to do their job. And
I'm sorry, real quick, Cody James, you could have been watching a lot of Dorkly and or Lowbrow because for you to say Shuckle's your favorite Pokemon, you understand the meme, bro. You are a man of culture. If you're even a man, it looks like that's a fake picture. Bravo. Okay. And I have to say is the whole Machop family line, the Gengar family line, the Alakazam family
bro,
line.
Alakazam is my favorite. Let's go. Let's
Come
go.
on now. Come on, bro. You feel me?
Kadabra Alakazam. You don't mess with that. Ash had to go get Haunter.
Why didn't he get an extra evolution? What's that called? Where they get the next one?
Is that
More
Mega Evolution
Gigantamax.
thing? Yeah.
When Pokemon X and Y. Why didn't they give it to Alakazam, bro? Give him like 80 spoons or something like that. That's corny. And all he does is meditate and float with a giant beard. That's all from a fan art. That's why I got the idea.
I'm just saying,
come on, man.
The Abra disrespect is real. He's always sleeping. He's always doing that. That man becomes Kadabra. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, Aaron, Mega Evolutions, thank you. But they know Aaron's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, need more spoons. How about you give him a fork? How come psychics don't bend forks? Show me a psychic that can bend a butter knife.
That's one. Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Mike.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you so much I know we went late. Thank you for taking the time to come on here. We a whole bunch of people donated directly. Here we raised $466.61. We'll be making a $500 donation right to the organization. This will be up. This charity will be up until next Monday, this fundraiser. So everybody watching late, you can still donate and support NewSoles. It's a charity in New Jersey where Mike is from. Yeah, it's providing a lot of footwear to the youth, mentorship programs, a lot of community outreach. I went through the whole website and everything. It seemed like it was really cool work, man. So
Nah, it's awesome. By the way, giving Alakazam a bunch of knives floating, you might as well call him Dio Brando, man. The world. What's up? It's not world. I'm nice. I know it all.
Like this is
thank you, fans. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Good number. Yeah, Tom. Thanks a bunch, brother. We're gonna keep in contact for certain, man.
Oh yeah. We'll be rocking. We'll be rocking with this. But folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Mike Daniels. And as always, go Pack Go.
Pack Go.